Do I recommend you do this? I'm gonna say straight up no. It's not worth it. I would avoid workouts like this. So, it's Tuesday, which is obviously the best day of the week considering I upload a video every Tuesday. So, here we are. Before we get into it, I want to say thank you for all the support in the recent videos. This is the video I was meant to do last week instead of the Mickey Peachie video. We're going to be looking at influencer workouts and having a gander at what we think is bless and what we think is brass, basically. We've got some requested names popping up today. We've got Meggan Grubb, we've got Pamela Reif, we've got CollegeCleanEating, we've got Caroline Girvan, who I know I've butchered their name again, but I'm going to continue doing so because I'm consistent. And we've got a few other people who are going to be making an appearance today. There is a reason why Caroline is popping up again, and I'll explain that reason when we get to her. When you embark on the content creation journey, you must do things that separates you from the crowd. You must be prepared to do something that no one else has done before. You've got to make a name for yourself through the art of creation and the art of individuality. One can pursue that path in many ways, but I've elected to do so in a special way, and that is wearing a different piece of headwear every week because why not? Sick. Due to it being Memorial Day yesterday, and the fact that a lot of TFNL subscribers are based in the United States, I figured this would be an appropriate piece of headwear to wear to show respect. It's actually like a neckerchief thing, but I can't really wear it here because that kind of defeats the purpose of covering my forehead and headwear. So I'm going to have to wear it on my head like a bandana, and I think it's going to make my forehead look even bigger than normal. Can't wait. This is really tight. I'm trying to let you know my hair does start like here. My forehead isn't this big, just going to clarify. But now the headwear is on, that means it's time to crack on with the video. And first we're going to look at Meggan Grubb. Meggan is a UK based, I believe, female influencer who does some bits and bobs, and we're going to look at her doing some of those said bits and bobs. First up, we have a squat. Obviously, you've been watching the channel for a while, I assume, or I hope. If not, hello, you're new, and I appreciate you. You know I love a squat. You know I'm a big fan of tempo. Depth, I think we are just creeping in. Sometimes I'm a bit on the fence, but I think it's kind of hit or miss. I feel like some of the reps may just be creeping in. That is something that could be easily fixed. But as a whole, the squat form's pretty decent. Head positioning is good, so a lot of times you see people when they're squatting, they spend all their time looking up and looking at themselves in the mirror. That's not really what you should do. Obviously, it's hard to tell, but it does look like she's maintaining quite a neutral spine, and the spine obviously runs from hello up here all the way down to the tailbone. So when you say neutral spine, we don't mean flat back as in upper back to lower back. You actually mean head positioning as well. Don't look up, don't look down, look where your spine wants you to look, which is usually straightforward. If I'm deadlifting, my head stays locked in, follows my spine. So that's good stuff, I like that. Big fan of hip thrusts, do bits for the body. So this is one of the few times I'd actually say adding a band to a movement is a good time. So when you chuck the band above the knee, it encourages additional external rotation of the hips, which could really help bring your body into it. Do you have to do hip thrusts with the band? No. Will you potentially feel the movement more if you do incorporate a band? Potentially, yes. Oh, we love a split squat. Well, we don't. I hate them. My least favorite, regarding actually performing the movement, my least favorite movement in the world. And regardless of how much I do them, the next day my body always hurts. But remember, muscle soreness, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, doesn't necessarily correlate to the effectiveness of a workout. It's usually due to the introduction of new stimulus. Great movement for the body, bad time for me because I have no body. I'm a bit on the fence here. Deadlifts at the end of the workout. Personal preference, but I do believe you should probably chuck deadlifts in towards the beginning of a workout, especially considering the risk of injury due to the movement could be slightly higher. Back position is good. She's obviously trying to sumo deadlift, which is obviously where you have wide legs and you're gripping inside the legs. The sumo is a bit all over the shop. I'll chuck an example on screen of what a good sumo deadlift looks like. CollegeCleanEating. Someone who's actually been quite heavily requested in the comment section. I guess you would consider this a static lunge. Personally, not a massive fan of Smith machines, although I do think they do have a purpose in some cases. It seems like her head is like unnecessarily tucked down, but that might be the angle. I'm sure her head is in line with the spine, which is fine. It's just a bit of a dodgy angle for that. Inverted rows, an underrated movement, I would say. A lot of people avoid doing movements like this because they deem it to potentially be too easy, when in reality is, if you chuck this towards the end of your workout, you're probably going to struggle, especially if your body angle is sufficient. It's a good time. I like it. It's quite good for the upper back, especially if you flare the elbows out a bit more. It's the cable kickback, and you know I don't like a cable kickback. I just think personally there are better movements to do, although I could tolerate including them as part of like a warm-up routine, which she may well be doing here. You know what I think about posterior chain work, top tier stuff. I'll tell you what I do notice, a lot of tempo-based movements, and she's making sure she executes each movement well, and I appreciate that, I respect that. Based on what I'm seeing here, even from Meggan, both of you, I don't say I'm impressed because I haven't seen a lot, but based on what I've seen thus far, I'm impressed, and I can only base my opinion off what I have seen. Therefore, my opinion is subject to change based on the potential exposure to additional content I may come to see. Very quickly, before we get on with the rest of the video, if we could hit 300 likes, I would really appreciate that. It shows to me that you like the videos and want to see more videos like this, therefore I shall continue making videos like this. In addition to that, we are growing closer and closer to the 20,000 subscriber mark, which is unbelievable, like literally unreal, so thank you so much for that. When we do get there, I do have a surprise for you, like a token of my appreciation and as a thank you. So to help us get there, I would really appreciate it if you did click the red button down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and perhaps obviously click the little bell next to it and get notified when I upload every week, because obviously new headwear every week, and who doesn't want to see me in a different hat every week is a pretty good time if you ask me. End of the video, comment question of the week, so if you do have a question you want me to answer, drop it down in the comment section below and I shall do so at the end of the next video. Let's continue with the rest of the video. Don't know who this person is, but I'm not tickling it. I understand how one could replicate a vertical leg press on the Smith machine. I personally would not feel comfortable doing so, as I feel there are so many things that could go wrong which could then increase the likelihood of injury, and it's not really worth it. Don't know about you, but when I'm lying on the floor under a Smith machine, which I don't think I've ever done, but if I were doing so and it was on my feet, I was pressing up, the last thing I want to see before I go rip in peace is a barbell come yeeting towards my face and me just lying there thinking, why do we fall, Bruce? If you're trying to incorporate a multi-joint lower base movement, you want to lift heavy, squat, leg press, things like that. The caption states, try adding this floor press with a reverse crunch. Simple and effective. What about this movement can be considered simple? So here it is, it's Caroline. When I covered her in her video a few weeks ago, I looked at her squat. In that squat, she did not hit depth. For that reason, I'm going to include a video of her squatting to depth. Caroline is going to be doing a Zerka or Zercha squat, whatever you want to call it. Depth is there. We can see she's absolutely burying it. We would call this ass to grass or arse to grass. As you can see, hip crease is well and truly below the top of the knees, regardless of why the squat is incorporated. In most cases, I'm an advocate of hitting depth, unless it is incorporated as a partial movement for a reason, like if you're weak point training, or if you're a high jumper or something like that, or you have an injury. Depth obviously has to be subject to change there, but in most cases I would say arse to grass if you can. And I don't actually mean like literally burying it to the point where you're now sacrificing technique just to get even lower. As long as your hip crease is below the top of the knee, I've done this so many times in recent videos, it's a mockery. As long as your hip crease is below the top of the knees, I'm happy. And if it's not, that's just something to work on. Bit of additional mobility work, technique work. So, Pamela Reif. And today we're going to be looking at a 15-minute thigh workout, low impact, only on the floor, no squats. In most cases, I would still avoid workouts like this. And I say that because if you are a healthy individual with no injuries and no limiting factors like that, I think you would better benefit from doing workouts that did include like squat-based movements. I can understand the incorporation of doing like a floor-only workout if you have injuries working around, but you have to manage expectations. You're not gonna see mass benefit from doing movements like this. Yeah, your muscles will hurt and burn because you're essentially maintaining a fair amount of tension without much resistance for a significant period of time. But again, just because you're hurting it doesn't mean you're working it. We're looking at 8 minutes standing abs and HIIT workout. HIIT, yes, fine. 8 minutes, obviously manage expectations. I'm not a massive fan promoting workouts like this, like standing ab workouts, which could imply that you can expect to achieve quite good midsection based results from performing workouts like this when most of the load is going to be going through the hip flexors rather than the actual abdominal region. In the description she does state how you will burn, based on many factors, age, weight, etc., 60 to 110 calories in 8 minutes. I appreciate that because it manages expectations and doesn't give people the false belief that they're going to burn massive amounts of calories. Another thing I do appreciate is that many of her workouts are quite low intensity, so they're great beginner workouts, but again, I don't appreciate stating that this is like an ab workout when it's really not. There's been a distinct lack of puppy thus far. I'm not happy about it. So give me a moment. So, don't worry, fear not. Oof, I've got the horse. I've got the horse with me. Hello, my boy. Oh, we're not doing this already, are we? once again, I am the bridge, but this is my puppy. The fame is clearly getting to his head. He's not paying as much attention to his fans anymore, which is a real shame. Hopefully he'll be more on form next week and will be more willing to give his fans what they want. Millionaire Hoy, who's a smaller creator, but a fitness professional who it seems focuses on creating home workouts with his wife. Obviously, my inner salty single man is saying, how dare you be happy in a relationship? But honestly, I love to see it. It's really nice when people incorporate workouts with their partners. I think it brings a really unique and quite welcoming and warming dynamic to training. And it's also just really nice to see when partners have a shared interest. So they both clearly love working out and helping people. And the fact they can do that together, I think it's great. I like the studio. This is a clean looking studio with the logo in the back and the nano leaf around it. It looks good. The movements are, yeah, fair enough. I think they've put a lot of effort into actually structuring this well. And from the initial observation, it's looking clean. But that's it. That is a video. As a whole, I'm pretty impressed with what I've seen. I think a lot of the creators I highlighted in this video were actually producing some pretty decent stuff. You may not agree with my opinions. You may actually disagree with my opinions. And that's absolutely fine. But regardless, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. It's time for comment question of the week. Edward Dad has asked, how come Coach Greg gives us 2 videos a day and you only give us 1 a week? Despite what many may think, these videos actually do take quite a lot of time to put together, especially if I'm doing like a video on a specific influencer. I do try and get a fair few hours of research on that person so I can give somewhat of an informed opinion. Again, I can't see all of their content, but I can at least make the effort to see a fair amount of it, especially their recent stuff. I think most videos have about an hour and a bit of raw footage, which I then have to condense down into like 10 to 12 minutes. And then editing takes another fair few hours. All in all, it's quite a lengthy process, and I love doing it, but I want to make sure I can maintain a decent level of quality, and I never want to sacrifice quality for quantity. In the future, increasing video frequency is definitely on the cards, but at this stage in my life, I think I'd rather do 1 video a week well, rather than, let's say, 2 videos a week, maybe not so well. If you like the video, let me know you like the video by slapping the like button, and hopefully we can hit that 300 like target. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you did subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me, and it really does help out, especially when looking at the YouTube algorithm. Obviously, the more interaction the video gets, the more likely YouTube is to push it to new people. That makes me happy because obviously I want the TFNL family to grow, and I'm really proud of how supportive the TFNL community is of not only myself but other members of the community, and I love for more people to get involved in the community. Someone commented last week about how TFNL or the comment section is a safe space for them. That really made my day, to be honest, because that's exactly what I want to create, a safe space for people. And I like to think we are doing that together as a family, and I love for that to continue. If you do have a question you want me to answer at the end of next video, drop it down below in the comment section for comment question of the week, and I shall do so. If you are in the United States, I hope you had a great Memorial Day and had a great weekend. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for tolerating me, thank you for tolerating my content, and thank you for tolerating the video.